of thought, freedom of speech, and my own consciousness. I felt that wetback, Maria Parafin of Tavarez. I know her Archangel Michael's name. She tried to put it on my Archangel. It's not so fucking schizophrenic right now. It's not even funny. Put it on my Archangel Michael, I think, in the spirit plane. His name is Raul Vargas III. From what I understand, the tarot reader over at that shop at 8704 Broadway, she, make a long story short, from what I understand, she this extends from yesterday. Like I said, I had the Olympians that was about to take care of everything. Aphrodite, Diana and all of that, Minerva, Thor. Fenrir is very good for getting put back together, by the way. So is Jagerstrill. It's funny, in my past life, I was Swedish and I can still pronounce that correctly. They're not under the Illuminati. It's a long fucking story what I endured last night. I had my astral body parts, like, what happened at New Testimonial Center, picked apart by them. This Maria Tavarez, Parafin, this evil motherfucker again. It comes from a rapist daddy of hers. It's that tarot reader. I heard she looked like Ozzy Osbourne. They're supposed to be open tomorrow over at that shop at 8704 Broadway. With that being said, they were like the last vestige, the Illuminati, from what I understand, that was acting as a buffer but keeping me under heavy curses. And my God was able to rescue my Baphomet from them and get it back. It was a lot of manipulation, even when I was, I don't know, protecting, I don't know what's going on. When I would try to put myself back together, I still felt incomplete. And I didn't want to believe the Illuminati aspect of it. Like I said, I witnessed Santa Muerte. From the energy was different. The energy was different. It was very, very different when she was fighting them. I saw, like I say in an astral vision I had, I saw Lil Wayne coming, DJ Khaled. Lil Wayne is supposed to come direct from the demiurge, be born of him, not born of him technically, but be of his direct lineage. Black people come from him direct. That's why they say, God has hair of wool. Jesus as well, who was actually in fact black. I learned during this curse, it's supposed to be related to me, and he got placed in the hell realm. That's where he was an Israelite, and from what I understand, they were competition with the Cometians, who looked more like lighter complexioned black people from the Caribbean. They look like your Cubans, your Puerto Ricans. But anyways, he stood as the basis of a sacrifice. That's why you got the Hanan man, a cross, acting as him. Never get a cross because that represents feeding off of a sacrifice. Your boy Pazuzu was showing me how it all used to be and how it all used to look. Get an Ankh, because the Ankh represents Ouroboros, like my birth number. Ouroboros, 8. They say lucky 8, but the thing with Ouroboros is what goes around comes around. You keep going in a cycle, a circle, if you don't complete something, which is the number 9. 9 represents completion, numerology, if you don't break something. Anyways, with that being said, he got placed in the hell realm, in the roach realm. That's where God's come from now. God as you know it. The Egyptians, the Cometians, were the ones that set up the whole God thing. The good thing with the Mexicans is they have a separate demiurge with Quetzalcoatl. He's not the greatest. The way he treated them, he controlled the shit out of them motherfuckers assiduously. But with that being said, the beautiful thing about him is, had them, did the sacrifice, had them running like hamsters on the treadmill and all of that. with that being said, he, like Allah, I don't want to say he's actually cool. You know, I don't want to say false demiurge, but he's somebody who was smart about the system and came up. He's a demiurge. Demiurges usually have the face of a dragon and the face of a human. Quetzalcoatl has that, so does Yoda Baal, the god of everybody else with hair, wool, skin of bronze, black. Quetzalcoatl would feature as a white man. He would shapeshift into a white man. That's why, they worship white skin. I had a Mexican himself. I was laughing. It's all of South America. It ain't just the Mexicans. We're not putting it on them. Who was telling me if you could have a nasty looking, podunk looking ass, down looking ass motherfucking cracker go over there to Mexico and want to mate with them motherfuckers, and they'll be quick to jump on it. Like, a good friend of mine who was actually from Hispania. Remember him describing them as, nothing more than fucking Indians who speak Spanish derisively. It's the same thing. It's because that's how their God look. They're demiurge. That's why when Cortez and all of them came to the New World, they were showering them with fucking riches and all that, giving them money. That's their God. The white man is technically in many aspects their God. And I believe Quetzalcoatl comes from, as Bryce Taylor explained, she was an Illuminati victim that she comes from a realm that the reptilians that she was under, that our world is under, it's very, when you think about it, my former timeline, I'm just going to call it that, seeing all the discrepancies I showed y'all, the differences in Madonna's nose, I ain't in my correct timeline. Something ain't right. With that being said, in the hierarchy of their reptilian hierarchy, white skin, the white reptilians are more valued. So that's the way of the Mexicans and the South Americans. It's incontrovertible. You can't argue with them. The demiurge is different. The original demiurge was Aludumare. And I was shown a world, a realm that he controlled. I was shown a timeline of, if he was to control the world, of how, I feel I'm trying to take over my mind right now, Illuminati and all that shit, and that Maria Tavarez. I was shown the timeline where Aludamare ruled, and it would have been a lot better. There was a film that came out because, race relations were intense. I remember the O.J. Simpson case and everybody jumping up like they fucking won something when the brother won. He was still fucking with white women, fucking them up. Even after, like with me, that's just some people's preference, and that's just preference, just like white me, like I do. But I'm not going to get into that pedestrian shit. My world is too fucking weird right now. The soul swapping and seeing the Illuminati in my former realities, timelines, in my former timeline. I don't want to hear any of that. I had somebody come up to me saying, do you like black men? That's an entity attachment, not to pay attention to that. That pedestrian shit don't work in these timelines because of what I'm dealing with. That's pedestrian shit. That's not shit I can indulge. Even with the ice raids, I wanted to say something about it, the overall situation. Yeah, I'm a MAGA hat where I'm not a big fan of them motherfucking wetbacks, but at the same time, I don't want to see them get fucked up. Like what I was told what was coming before this curse. Where I come from, the reality in which I, derive from, everybody got along. It was starting to get a lot better. Here, let me show you the black sun. The black sun is actually a composition of all the colors of the color spectrum. It's ultraviolet. Look at how this sun comes out at you. And there was actually an episode when I talk about being soul swapped later on. I'm going to drop this. I'm trying as best as I can to bear because my consciousness is all fucked up. There was an episode on the Outer Limits called The New Sun. And it showed the sun looking exactly like this. And this is my old timeline. This isn't, what I'm hearing, the dystopian timelines I've been casted in. That's an evil ass wetback bitch. I even had the Olympians saying, Thor and all of them, Diana and all of them saying that they're very, very money hungry. She's very, very power hungry because she got on with the Illuminati to keep me out that timeline. Again, I was able to get my Baphomet back from them, and they didn't like that. They wanted to take my shit, my power, and take me over. Because again, it goes back to Zendaya, I think, selling me out as a sacrifice. I'm supposed to be the incarnation of Heke, but really that got stolen from my mother's powers as Isis. She's supposed to be part of our lineage. Isis, let me show you this article. A long time ago, and from what I understand, I heard that Zendaya had sent me an email. There was a lot of jealous motherfuckers when I went topless in my old neighborhood, sending me stuff. You know, I had fucking niggas, I had crackers, and I'm still trying to figure out who the fuck put this shit on me. I heard it was a fucking, it was some kikes, some niggas or wetbacks, I don't know. I can't ascertain it. It was a sadistic bitch. I feel her pulling my entity attachments right now as I fucking speak. And them Olympians were about to cast that wetback bitch the fuck out. You know, I heard that she very cutthroat, power hungry. You know, it goes back to, I heard her father's name was Raul Vargas, who was a rapist who raped her mom. Her mom was by wetback standards, you know, it reminds me of a cartel member by the name of La Barbie. You know, they were all like, oh yeah, La Barbie, you know, we're going to call him La Barbie. La Barbie looked like fucking Bobby Hill from King of the motherfucking Hill. That's how much they value white skin. Insinuate that fat fucking pork is a fucking Ken doll. Our governor is a Ken doll. That's a fucking Ken doll right there. That's a nigga that you just fucking look at. That motherfucker right there, my type. There's some weird shit with them motherfuckers too, by the way. I'm gonna be set up to, it was a lot. Slaves, some shit. I don't know. I remember when I first started going topless in my old neighborhood, a lot of politicians, you know, a lot of big people, Pinks, hot dogs, and all of that around the name Pink. I don't want to say galvanizing, but clamoring on my Twitter, and I just didn't feel right about it. I felt like control, and I felt like trying to influence me to act and be a certain way I'm not. You know, I heard spirit playing prostitution, wearing wigs again. Nah, you know, MK Ultra. You know, I heard Baron Samedi saw that. I don't know, use 694 or 695 hertz. See, I don't know how true that is. But with that being said, I heard some weird diabolical shit with that. So I just tore hide on my fucking blog and spoke my truth, spoke my piece. With that being said, I was talking about La Barbie and all of that. Her mama was a prostitute. I don't know if her name was Martinez or Vargas, but a hooker with blonde hair and all that. I heard she won my Hike something, and she was a nasty. You know, I can't knock them people, but from what I understand, she got raped by this Raul Vargas or whatever. And I think her name was Gertaz. So 694, 695 hertz, you could do with that. That's supposed to be her maiden name. So just evil motherfuckers all around. Very evil, pernicious motherfuckers. With that being said, that's her higher self. You know, your higher self is the composite of, you know, usually your mother and your father, your past life and all of that. You know, mine's a Jewish ancestor. With that being said, that's, you know, what's been hounding me. And I was shown in the spirit plane, if she saw fucking black people coming in, she would block them. She, you know, from what I understand, she got a big bulbous nose and all of that. You know, like a lot of them web bucks values, esteems white skin because, again, their God created God Quetzalcoatl was shapeshift into a white man. When I saw their creation, it's no joke. But anyways, with that being said, The Olympians, U69, 694, 695 hertz. See, we're trying to get rid of her yesterday. I feel her putting entity attachments on me as I speak. I feel her all in my fucking soul consciousness and everything. And I just got 5 of Pentacles right here. And her trying to get rid of what little spiritual protection I got. I don't want to be under no Illuminati. That put me under heavy fucking curses. They first took my Baphomet, like I say, before I had recurrent visions, astral visions of me and a couple of other kids meeting Jay-Z backstage after a concert in 1991. Mind you, the man did not become famous until 1997. And that connotes to him stealing our shit, our blessings. And in my case, he took my Baphomet and put me under heavy fucking curses, Illuminati curses. I could have been a child prodigy with art, and that didn't go anywhere. It didn't take flight. And there's reason for it. So with that being said, it's just been being stuck in hell realms and being made to feel, through my enemies, glad to be alive by them keeping me, together and all of that. But with that being said, I've seen the Illuminati in my timelines. I think I got Prince Andrew a couple of days ago. I heard in the spirit plane that going back to that timeline, I saw Santa Muerte constantly trying to drag my brother into her hell realm. I don't know what the fuck was going on with that. My brother Kristen. Prince Andrew had thrown my brother as part of a sacrifice ritual with the motherfucker that soul swapped me. Maria Tavarez, Parafin. She keeps trying to give this motherfucker all my astral body parts. I believe her name was Ashley Terrell or Renee Wellinger of Destrehan, Louisiana. And I know her timeline started in Atchafalaya Bay and Radio City Music Hall. I know with Maria Tavarez, her house, like they have the House of Windsor. I saw that along with the Gita's place in the spirit plane. Her house is based in Lake Forest Mall in New Orleans East that me and my family used to go to as kids, and I have very, very fond memories of. But it's a lot of weird shit. Heard I got switched out of timelines. I remember like around here when I came here for an interview to get the place, they had a wider road up the street, somewhere around here. And I don't see that. And I remember my brother was out there with a BMW cleaning it. It was wide and there were no stores around here. And this is the same fucking place. I don't want to say temporal distortion, but I'm not in my reality. But something got to be done about that Maria Tavarez. And them Olympians tried the other day. You can use 694, 695 hertz to see, especially Aphrodite, Diana, and they're outside the purview of the Illuminati. They're not controlled by them. I'm trying to think of what it has something to do with, but they're not under their purview. And that's, they can't fuck with them. They can't fuck with Thor. They can't fuck with Yah. They can't fuck with any of that shit. I'm going to talk about the esoteric shit later. I just got to get this wetback bitch off. I can go back to normal. So in the obstacle position, we got justice. And I feel that you're facing something that's blocking you and that's fucking you up. And that's causing you a lot of pain and derision. With that being said, the outcome is the sun. I mean, not the outcome, but present position. You're standing at the precipice of a, I keep seeing Dad screaming at me right here. You're standing at the precipice of a very good place. A very good outcome. Five of Pentacles. The future position. I see you getting out of a very bad situation. Subconscious, Four of Pentacles. Some's telling you to be very, very, very precautious with the direction you're going on, how do you deal with a situation. Hangman. That's the Goals card. It's to watch and don't jump on decisions. Two of Swords. Advice card. Make the right decision. Matter, you can go in the wrong decision and fuck you don't want that. Queen of Pentacles. Energy all around you. And I feel like you're being surrounded by motherfuckers that see what's going on around you, that want to cover what you have. Wicked bitches, especially one. Nine of Swords. Fears in your hopes card. I feel that you're not making the right decision towards something that's very, very crucial, very pivotal decision. King of Swords is the outcome. You're going to have great help, and it's going to come from something that you don't see coming, and somebody very, very powerful. With that being said, if you want a more personalized tarot reading, please contact me at ravenbytarot22 at yahoo.com. This is just too fucking weird. Peace.